What's going on, everyone? It's DSP, and welcome to the November 8th, 2010 episode of The Hateful Truth. In this episode, we're going to be covering 6 different games. First, we're going to be talking about 2 007 games that actually came out on the exact same release day, which is pretty ironic, and they had the same publisher, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Also, we're going to talk about the Microsoft Kinect, and 4 of the games out of the 6 that I actually purchased that were launch titles, which I've had the chance to play. To be completely fair, I have not had a chance to play the last 2, but to be completely honest, after looking at them, they don't look like they're going to be killer apps or anything like that. So, first of all, let's start out with the 2 007 games that came out this week. Of course, I am talking about Bloodstone 007, which came out for the next-gen systems, and a lot of people gave me shit for calling them next-gen systems. Sorry, the Wii, I don't consider a next-gen system. It's old graphics, and the only really reason that people bought it was because it has a gimmick control. So until they catch up to everyone else, sorry, I don't really consider you guys up to par with everyone else. That's just my personal opinion, but Bloodstone 007 for the Xbox 360 and PS3, and GoldenEye 007 for the Nintendo Wii. Now, let's talk about Bloodstone a little bit first. If you caught my video last week of the verdict, on Friday I actually spent a lot of time with the multiplayer of these 2 games, and we're going to talk about that in this Hateful Truth. But if you want to just talk about the comparison of the multiplayer between these 2 games, go check out my video on the TKOHHD from last week, the verdict of Bloodstone versus GoldenEye. But anyway, so Bloodstone 007. First of all, the graphics are sharp. They're not too detailed, but for the most part, they look pretty good. They're pretty snappy. The gameplay itself is extremely basic. It's a third-person shooter, but you sneak around for a lot of the game. Your goal is to basically sneak around, disarm as many opponents as you can without attracting attention. For every melee attack that you get what's called, and again, I'm sorry, I forget the names of it, a fast kill, a stealth kill. It's some kind of an ability where basically when you melee attack someone and disarm them and kill them, you have the ability to get an instant kill on someone else without having to aim, without anything. You just get a headshot on them instantly. And it's an interesting game mechanic. The other thing that's pretty unique about this game is that there's a couple interesting driving stages where you're driving fast cars. There's actually a boat stage. So there is a little bit of variety in the gameplay. The campaign is going to last you about 4 to 4.5 hours, which obviously for this day and age, it's unacceptable. The campaign is very, very short. Luckily, this game does have multiplayer, but unfortunately, the multiplayer also kind of falls flat on its face because it's pretty standard third-person shooter stuff. You run around, you pick up whatever gun you want, whether it's a shotgun, a sniper rifle, an automatic rifle. The shotguns suck. They're pretty worthless. The sniper rifle's really good if you're a good shot. The online play is lagged, meaning it's delayed action. If you shoot someone, they'll still run at you, and then all of a sudden the bullet will hit and they'll fall backwards, which is pretty funny. Now, the instant kill mechanic from the campaign actually crosses over into the multiplayer, but the funny part about that is that the melee attacks in multiplayer are extremely bugged. And what I mean by that is, let's say someone's standing right in front of you. When you do a melee attack, you will go, oh, like this, and sometimes, in fact, most of the time, your attack will pass completely through their body, and they'll survive, and then they'll just mash on melee, and the 2 of you will just go into like a melee fest until someone finally passes out and dies. So, it's pretty funny. I actually was able to jump in that multiplayer. In my first session, I figured out how to abuse this. I just stood on a ledge underneath everyone, waited for them to jump down, walked behind them, used melee attacks to kill like 3 of them when they weren't even looking. Then when the rest of their team came out, since I had 3 melee attacks built up for these instant kills, I did 3 instant kills on the guys coming out, and I entirely wiped out their team. It was ridiculous. It was so silly. So, the campaign is pretty good. It's fun, but it's short-lived. Unfortunately, I have to kind of compare the campaign of this game to the campaign of The Force Unleashed 2 last week. The problem is, at least The Force Unleashed 2 wasn't a standard third-person shooter. The Force Unleashed 2 has some good controls, has some force abilities that are at least interesting. This game, you're just shooting people, and that is just not that fun. So unfortunately, I have to say that this game, overall, with a lackluster multiplayer mode that pretty much you're never going to want to play again. The bottom line with the multiplayer mode of this game, you will want to jump into it because if you play it for about 45 minutes, you'll unlock like 50 gamer points. I'm not even kidding. The first session I played with this, I sat down for about an hour, I got 50 gamer points, and then I said, I'm never going to want to play the multiplayer of this game again. It sucks. So, you know, $60 purchase, absolutely not. Weekend rental, maybe that makes a little bit more sense. Unfortunately, as a total package, it's an extremely standard third-person shooter. There's not even grenades in the game unless you pick up a grenade launcher weapon. Really lame. This game gets a 5. It's extremely, extremely average. It's a polished, average game. Let's put it that way. I didn't encounter many game bugs or anything like that, but it's just not good enough to warrant a retail release. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about GoldenEye 007. Give me a second here. Recharge. Now, GoldenEye 007 was the other 007 game to be released this week, and a lot of people were really anticipating this game. They said, gee, you know, this is going to be the re-release of the classic GoldenEye game that was a really popular game on the Nintendo 64. How's it going to be? Now, as you see, I actually purchased a limited edition that came with a golden controller, because right now I do have a black controller for the Nintendo 64, but I thought, gee, if this game's really good, maybe I can get a friend to come over and we'll do split screen and all of that. First of all, I have to be honest, and I was already honest earlier in the video. The graphics of the Wii are nowhere near up to par with any other system like the Nintendo 64, the Xbox 360, or the PlayStation 3. They're just not. They're ugly, very ugly. And when you try to compare a game like this to even this game is butt ugly. Not just with detail, but the frame rate. There were times during the campaign of this game where they really tried hard. There was actually a particular part, it's a really suspenseful part of the game, where there's a woman, she's trying to decode something to save the world, and you're trying to defend her from all those people that are trying to attack her. So like 10, 15 people are coming to the room at once. At the same time, there's a large explosion outside. The game's frame rate gets so low because the graphics engine of the Wii can't handle it, you cannot tell what's going on. It's just that bad. And that happens probably 3 to 4 times during the campaign of this game. Extremely disappointing because the campaign itself is not that bad, but once it's about a 4-hour campaign, similar to this campaign, it's about the same length, maybe a tad longer, I want to say. But once you get about 3 hours into it, you're like, God, this is dragging on so much. The graphics really are not that good. You know, I really wish I could just end this and I want to try the multiplayer because that's what everyone was talking about to try this game out anyway. So, campaign, is it decent? Yes. By the way, this is a first-person shooter. This is not a third-person shooter like Bloodstone. But I think everyone knows that. The original GoldenEye was a first-person shooter for the Nintendo 64. The campaign really isn't anything to talk about. It's okay. It's average. Unfortunately, the graphics pull it below average because if this campaign had come out on a next-gen system, maybe it would have been a little bit better, but the graphics really hold it back. Now, the online play of this game, I want to say, gameplay-wise, is actually exceptional. It emulates a Call of Duty style system where you level up, you gain experience. While you gain experience with victories, you unlock different weapons, different perks, which in this game they actually call gadgets, which give you different abilities. You can get different attachments to put onto your weapons. It's literally copies Call of Duty. But that's not a bad thing, especially on the Wii, because the Wii needs a really solid first-person shooter game and a game for the hardcore gamer. However, where this game falls flat on its face, similar to this game falls flat on its face because the multiplayer is boring. By no means is the multiplayer of this game boring. The problem is, the Wii is a horrible system for multiplayer. For example, while I was playing, and I played it for a little bit over an hour online, 4 times the host of the match dropped. The entire match came to a standstill. Everyone sat there for 5 minutes with their thumb up their ass saying, come on, we want to play, what's going on? Finally, the Wii, said, all right, we're searching for a new host. And every single time, my Wii locked up. And some people gave me some shit for this last week when I did the verdict video between the multiplayer of these two games, and they said, Phil, when your Wii locks up, just hold on your power button for 5 seconds. Well, guess what? This game locks up so bad, you can't do that. I was holding it, I ejected the CD, that didn't do anything. I actually had to unplug my Wii every time the system locked up. So, I'm sorry, but a game where the multiplayer is decent, but every 20 minutes you're going to have to go unplug your fucking system, plug it back in to play the multiplayer is unacceptable. So, this game had potential to be great, had potential to beat this game by leaps and bounds, but because it's on the Wii, the graphical limitations and the multiplayer limitations of the Wii killed this game, really. And I'm disappointed because I had high hopes for this game. I was really thinking this was going to be the one game to keep for the Wii, to play online constantly. I played it for 1 hour. After rebooting 4 times, I'm fed up, I've had enough, I don't want this game anymore. So the bottom line, campaign is average, would have been above average if it had better graphics, but because of the graphics engine it limits it. Online is exceptional, but the online play has so many bugs locking up and making you restart your system, it kills it. I give this game a 6. So, Bloodstone gets a 5, being a super average third-person shooter. This game gets a 6 because it actually is decent. It's the Wii hardware that's holding it back. So this game gets a 6. Okay, now we're going to move on to the Kinect releases for this week. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this. I played 4 games on the Microsoft Kinect this week, and we're going to cover each one individually, but I'm not going to spend too much time because a lot of them, honestly, I don't have a lot to say about. Kinect Adventures. This is the game that comes with the Microsoft Kinect when you buy it. What is it? It is a bunch of shitty mini-games. You slap balls with your hands and basically do a 3D version of Breakout, and if you haven't ever played Breakout, go search for it on the internet, you know what I'm talking about. You ride a raft and jump over obstacles. You ride a train car and dodge obstacles. It's horrible. It's not interesting. It's pretty much what you would play with your parents or your brother and sister or some of your younger friends for maybe 20 minutes till you say, this is boring, I don't want to do this anymore, or I'm tired, let's take a break and do something else. So, that's probably the reason why they package this with the game. Extremely average, nothing to write home about. In fact, I like Sports Champions, which was packaged with the PS Move, way better than I like Kinect Adventures. This game gets a 4. It's that stinky. Dance Central, this is the game you're going to want to buy if you get the Microsoft Kinect. It's probably the most responsive game for the system right now. It's fun as hell. There's a lot of popular songs in there that have been popular either in the past 10 or 15 years, or some of them are actually from present day. Really fun. The one complaint I have about this game, if you're tall, and this is not just me, this is actually, I polled some other people who I knew who bought the Kinect. If you're tall, Dance Central penalizes you, and here's why. Dance Central has a lot of motions. It's all motion controls, obviously. The Kinect, you are the controller. You're not holding a controller or anything like that, okay? And Dance Central has a lot of moves. For example, put your hand above your head like this. Put your hand above your head like this. Well, guess what? I'm 6 feet tall. Some of the time, when I was doing this, my hand was cutting off at the top of the frame of the camera of the Kinect, and therefore the Kinect was saying I wasn't doing it right. Now that's ridiculous. At the same time, some of the moves would require me to step forward. And if I stepped forward, well then it would say, uh-oh, your foot's out of the bottom of the frame, that doesn't count. So basically it's penalizing people with long legs and long arms, which is ridiculous. So, I'm sorry, the people on the front of this aren't 5 years old, okay? The people on the front of this look like teenagers to young adults. I'm 28, alright, maybe I'm a little bit on the older side, but I didn't grow between the ages of 20 and 28, okay? By the age 15, I was 6 feet tall. So for these idiots to be dancing like this, and then the game's trying to basically say you need to be short to play this game and fit in the frame is ridiculous. Another thing about the Kinect, you cannot play the Kinect within 6 feet, okay? The Kinect says you have to be 6 feet or more away from it. Bullshit. Complete lie. 6 feet, I actually measured, is roughly where the Kinect is at my TV, which is right behind my camera right now, to me on the couch, okay? If you watch any of the Kinect footage on DSP Gaming this week, you know I had to angle my Kinect so that I was further into the corner of my condo to get it to work. So to even play this game, I had to be about 8 feet away. Now, being 8 feet away and 6 feet tall, they were telling me reaching and kicking. I was too close, basically. I was in the frame. So how really far away do you need to be to play these games to their utmost? That's my question. So anyway, out of the 4 games I played, being completely honest, Dance Central is the most fun. You get a good workout when you play it. You have fun because you get to learn some silly dance moves. No, you're not going to go to the club after playing through this game and try to dance. That's ridiculous, but at least you have some fun out of it. You move to some songs. If you haven't seen some of this footage, go check it out on DSP Gaming. It's hilarious. I try to fool around a little bit to have fun with it, and actually, for the past 2 or 3 days, it's been the highest viewed You're the Man Now Dog on the website, you'rethemannowdog.com. If you never checked it out, it's www.ytmnd.com. Go over to the most viewed for the day, and you're going to see the King of Dance is at the top. And I am dancing like an idiot in that video to a freestyle, and it's pretty funny. So, pretty fun game. I would give this game a 7. Only because the Kinect is not what it promises to be. If the Kinect really was play anywhere, you know, have fun, and everything was being recognized, but I was really doing like just the simplest motions, fail, fail, fail. How am I failing? And then when I look back at the video, it was because my hand was above the frame, my feet were below the frame. That's bullshit. The Kinect should work with normal people. So, sorry, this game gets a 7 because Microsoft Camera does not work that well. Tough shit. This game, Sonic Free Riders, I played with John Rambo for a half hour. We had the most fucking problems trying to play this game out of all the games on the Kinect. Just doesn't want to work. John had a little bit better experience than myself. From what we apparently found out, the Kinect camera works better with white t-shirts than black t-shirts. Guess what? Fuck you. I don't give a shit what color t-shirt I'm wearing. The Kinect should work. It's an infrared sensor. Therefore, this is bullshit. We couldn't get our feet to register. Even worse than that, we couldn't get our hands to register on the menus. The toughest part of this game is just doing the most basic selections with your hand. This game, very simply put, doesn't work. You probably have to be about 5 feet or shorter to get this game to work, wearing all white. Bullshit. This game should work with anyone. It doesn't. This game gets a 2. Fuck this game. Don't buy this game. The last game on our lineup is Kinectimals. Kinectimals. Why is this game disappointing? Because this game started out as the demo last year at E3 for Kinect 2009, which was Milo, which was an interactive kid who talked to you. And when I saw that game, I thought, gee, here's some really cool potential. Why not have Milo be like an interactive guide who you speak to through voice commands on the Kinect, and he gives you clues to things that are going on. And you can have like a mystery type game where maybe you're exploring this island, and you unlock different areas of the island. There's puzzles, and Milo maybe has some hints on how to solve those puzzles. And based off of how you move and how you talk and what you say to Milo, you can figure things out. Instead, what did they turn that Milo demo into? Nintendogs. That's exactly what this game is. Nintendogs with cat creatures. And actually, it's funny because just like I thought they could have done with Milo, you're on an island, you're unlocking different parts of the island, but the difference is you only unlock them by doing repetitive gameplay and really boring stuff. So for example, you teach your pet to do tricks. So if you spin in place like this, you know, obviously I'm not spinning in place for real, but if you spin in place, it learns how to spin. You gain 10 Kinectimal points. If you jump in place, it learns how to jump. You get 10 Kinectimal points. And since it's a pet, obviously you get toys. So you get a ball, you get a rubber pig, whatever, and you throw it and it fetches and you get points for that. But most of the game is comprised of mini games, which is just like drive a toy car through a course, throw something at a target and hit the target 10 times. And as you're doing this, you get points, and as you're playing, you're like, wait a minute, I'm playing carnival games for the Wii. I've played this game before. all they've done is they've put a nice graphical interface over carnival games, and that's really what this game is. It's a game where a kid, it's definitely not for adults, it's very kid-oriented, will play this for about, a half an hour to an hour a day, doing little mini games, getting achievement points very easily, by the way, just by playing it, and that's exactly what it is. This is the essence of shovelware. That's exactly what this is. This game doesn't work. This is crap. This game is shovelware. It's okay for a little kid, but any other person will not get any entertainment out of this game. It's a waste of time. So Kinectimals, simply because it does actually work per se, but it's really a kiddie game for kids only, and it's very limited, and it had a lot of potential. It could have been maybe a Myst type game where you're exploring an island and doing interactive stuff with this mysterious kid who you find, which is exactly what the demo was at 2009's E3, and they change it into this bullshit because they have no imagination, no talent, and no marketing ability. I give this game a 4.5. It's shit. Unless you're a little kid, don't buy it. So overall, of the games I played on Kinect this week, I'm pretty disappointed. Kinect Adventures is awful. Sonic Riders doesn't, Free Riders, let me rephrase it. Sonic Free Riders doesn't work. Kinectimals is for little kids. Dance Central is the only game so far that I've found that any decent, teenager, young adult would want to play for the Kinect. Now, in all honesty, and be fair, I also have Joyride and Kinect Sports over there, but let's face it, Kinect Sports is going to be a sports game, a general sports game, and everyone knows what that is. You play sports. So yeah, if you have your friends over, they'll play for a little bit. It's nothing that's going to be a killer app that's going to want to sell the Kinect. And Joyride is a driving game where you go like this and you drive a car. It's shit. Even not playing, I can tell you, it's shit. So, I don't even know if I'm going to open those games. Because at this point, that's $100. That's right, they're $50 a pop that I could probably return and get better games. I'm really disappointed. I thought that the Kinect was going to be a lot better. I thought that the controls were going to be a lot more responsive. I thought that games like Sonic Free Riders would be fun, and overall, it's not there yet. We will talk later this week. Like I said earlier in my weekend preview video, we're going to compare the PS Move against the Kinect, and my honest feelings about the two. If you had a choice between the two, which should you get? Which is more for the hardcore gamer versus the casual gamer? So that's coming up later this week on the King of Hate HD. But overall, the Kinect is just not ready. It shouldn't have been launched. Actually, the one other complaint that I have about it, which I got to get through really quick because I know this video is now going long, is that the menu commands on the Xbox 360 dashboard don't work properly. You would think that you could go anywhere on your regular Xbox 360 dashboard with the Kinect, either through verbal commands or motion commands. You cannot. It's a complete lie. They have only one very small section for the Kinect. Most of it is ads. The one thing you can do is anything through the Zune software. You can actually use motion controls or verbal controls to command. But you can't play any music you've loaded onto your console. You can't play any videos you've loaded onto your console. You can't use Netflix. You can't do probably 90% of the stuff you want to do. You cannot do through the Kinect command. So it's a lie. They said it was going to be ready for launch. It is not ready for launch. I'm very disappointed even with just that. We tried to do video chat, and it seems that if you can do direct video chat between two people, but it's not possible yet to do full party chat. Now that could be wrong, but we tried to do it yesterday and could not get it to work. We tried for about a half hour. We didn't get the video chat working. One good thing about the Kinect that we do like, it's an open microphone. So when I'm playing a game, for example, when I was playing Bloodstone online, I didn't have a headset on, but I was talking, and the Kinect was picking up my microphone voice, or my voice on its microphone, and actually broadcasting it. So you no longer need a headset. It's good enough to talk and then get that microphone feedback through your speaker system. You really no longer a need for a headset if you buy a Kinect. But that's not a reason to sell the Kinect. So with all the problems we had with the majority of the games we tried, I can't give the Kinect a positive review right now. I really think that they should have tested this more. I almost get the feeling they tested it in either in a giant mansion, which has a gigantic living room, or they tested it in ideal conditions, meaning, white t-shirt, in a fucking air hangar with an empty airplane hangar, and no interruptions or anything, nothing that could interfere with it. Like, who has ideal conditions? Give me a fucking break. If I want to spend $150 and $50 a pop on a game, that goddamn thing better work. And the bottom line is, it doesn't work that well. And to boot, it doesn't turn. And that's the thing. People say it tracks you. It does track you automatically. If you sit down or stand up, the Kinect will go down and up. It does not track you going left or right. The Kinect is not meant to be played at an angle. So the way I've been playing all week is basically wrong. People have been telling me I might have broken my Kinect sensor by turning it left or right. Well, guess what? Fuck you, Microsoft, because it doesn't say that in the guide. It does not say you cannot play this at an angle. It does say be careful, but it doesn't give you specific guidelines on how to use it or anything like that. What it does tell you is don't put it next to a speaker. So I couldn't put it next to my surround sound front speaker here because it might have damaged the speaker. So I went out and bought, it might have damaged the Kinect. So I went out and bought a $40 universal mount that should have worked with my TV, that didn't work with my TV. And if you saw my video last week when I bought this Kinect, how frustrated I was. I spent hours trying to get this thing to work. Now it finally does work, but it's pretty shitty. So overall, I think this is a failed experiment. I think this is something that could have taken a lot longer to develop. Would have been a lot better if they put more time into it. So, Microsoft Kinect, I'm sorry, could have been better. I have to give it right now, present state, it gets a stinky 5. Could it be improved through firmware updates and things like that? Absolutely. But until they do it, you get a stinky 5 from me, and I really wish that you would improve it so that people could go ahead and play normal games on it. But anyway, we'll talk about PS Move versus Kinect later this week. But that's it for the Hateful Truth this week. Been a long one. I covered a lot of stuff. This is the SP, and I'll see you guys later.